Neil Tyson once said, "When students cheat on exams, it is because our school system values grades more than students value learning." Hi friends, I'm Sandip Singh, and in this video I'd like to talk about some things which I don't agree inside the education system. So let's get started. Now before I start, let me first talk about all the good things inside schools. So first off, I'm grateful that schools actually gave me like a ton of memories with my friends and my teachers. I'll never actually forget, and I truly cherish those memories. And I honestly loved all my teachers which have actually taught me throughout my life. And schools also taught me to be more sociable with other people, and taught me how to communicate better and all that. Schools also taught me to have more discipline. I'm basically in year 2 of university right now, and I'm 20 years old right now. So basically I can say I've been in school for about 15 years right now. And I'll say besides the time I had fever or something like that and I had to skip school, 99% of the time I was actually in school. All of us were basically in school for I don't know, about 15 years of our life. And imagine the amount of discipline we actually had to actually go to school each and every day. It's quite amazing that we could actually achieve this, going to school every single day. Okay, so now let me talk about some problem which I have with schools. Now I feel in schools there's this hierarchy. There's this teacher in front, and you're just sitting on a desk and learning from the teacher. And it's been going on for quite some time, since I don't know, the 19th century, and it's still the same. Here's a picture of a 19th century classroom, and here's a picture of our 21st century classroom. So it's basically the same. There's always a teacher in front and students sitting on a desk. And I think it creates this environment that the teacher should be the one talking, and students should just be listening. And I feel in that kind of perspective, it is also a reason why we don't actually raise our hands and really have proper conversations with teachers and all. And I feel the environment we are in the classroom is everyone is so quiet, listening to the teacher. So that also gets implanted into our brain that maybe I should be quiet and just listen to the teacher. But that is not a good thing. A better way that we should have is have a problem, and all the students should just sit down on the floor and just collaborate with each other and solve the problem, instead of just sitting in our desk and just listening to the teacher. We need to be actively working together in solving a problem. And I know there are some group activities that we do which it's all about students collaborating and stuff like that, but there needs to be more of that instead of just sitting in our desk and listening to our teachers. And there's this good video about Steve Jobs which talks about hierarchy and all that. It's a 2-minute clip, I think. I'll put all of the videos and all the articles which I'm saying inside the description below if you want to check it out. But Steve Jobs said Apple is basically run by ideas and not by hierarchy. And I think it's important that students we need to learn to come together and think of new ideas and solve the ideas instead of just absorbing information into ourselves. But we need to have a constant run of ideas, and then we can eliminate all the ideas which are not going to work and stuff like that. And sometimes we don't actually want to be called upon. Sometimes when teachers asking for an answer or something, we wouldn't look at our teacher in the eyes so that we won't be called upon. And sometimes we just have the fear of being humiliated and all that. But we should be willing to actually fail. We should be happy that we're actually failing and learning. I have this video talking about why we should fail and all that. I think it's somewhere over there. So if you want, you can check that out. I feel any person who has succeeded at something has gone through tons of failures which you haven't really seen. So you should be willing to actually fail and be humiliated, so then you'll grow as a person and learn new experiences. And I think in school there's a lot of useless information. Maybe sometimes we will be learning the US president's name or something like that, and there's no real reason why we need to learn that. I know it might be because to improve our memory power and all that, so that is why we learn all these facts, so that we'll have better memory and we can regurgitate that information inside the exam. But we should learn more factual stuff which involves our memory, and then we can use that for our exams instead of useless information. And I feel in this world we are surrounded with tons of information. Even my video is gonna say some information which you might find useful or something like that. And there's this good Bruce Lee quote which I like to say. Bruce Lee once said, "One does not accumulate but eliminate. It is not daily increase but daily decrease. The height of cultivation always runs to simplicity." And I think I find that true. There's a tons of information out there which we don't actually need all of them, and sometimes we just need to like eliminate all the useless information inside our lives. And sometimes we should like just have like a time to ourselves where we basically do nothing. I feel doing nothing is very underrated. Like if you look back our lives, like we're always like doing something. Like even when we're doing like nothing productive, like watching Netflix or something, we are still doing something. Sometimes I feel like we should just like let our thoughts like run free. And I feel like just by doing nothing and like just letting our thoughts run free, we learn more about ourselves in a way. And like I think in school, like sometimes we kind of like lose the spark of curiosity, because like I feel in school like everything is like made. Like semester 1 we know what to do, semester 2 we know what to do, and like there's always this system to follow, and we all like just absorbing like everything which is the teacher saying, and like everything is like so robotic. Yeah, so sometimes we kind of like lost the spark of curiosity. We need to be willing of being open with new ideas, and like be learning from other people. And like there's this podcast which I listen to, like there's this podcast called like the Tim Ferriss Show, and like Tim Ferriss, he actually like goes deep with like the questions he actually like asks, which is quite amazing. And sometimes when I'm listening to like Tim Ferriss, like I wonder if I'm actually like curious enough to actually like ask those questions. And I don't really know, like I hope I don't actually lose the spark of curiosity, but we need to be willing to actually be curious about even the smallest thing. And like sometimes in school, I wonder if like we actually know how to think in school, since like everything I feel is kind of like robotic and all that. Like there are some words about like critical thinking and like thinking outside the box and all that, but what do they actually mean? Like we don't have like step-by-step guidelines of like doing all that. So what does thinking outside the box actually mean? Like I think like what school actually means, like to say thinking outside the box, because like your exam questions won't be like exactly the same as like the thing you have learned inside your textbook or something like that. So that's why you have to think outside the box a bit. But is that what thinking outside the box actually mean? To like flex all your brain muscles and like think of every possible kind of information you can think of from a specific topic? Like I honestly don't know what thinking outside the box even means, to be honest. And like in exams, the thing which I don't like about schools is that why our exams must be done like individually. It doesn't like make sense to me, because like when you go and see companies and like startups or whatever, right, it's never just run by one person. It's always like this group of people working together. So I don't understand why like exams must be done individually. We need to be working together and like discuss new ideas, then only like we can go further. Like a simple idea like for a short period of time could be done by one person, but like if you want to do something for like years on, you need to have like a group of people working alongside with you. And like I think in schools, it is very overstimulated. Now what I mean by this is that whenever we're in schools, we always like have something to do. Like we might be like sitting down for our next period of class, or like exercising in like a gym or something, but we don't like actually have like a time to ourselves. And I think schools, they should have like this time like just to like be with ourselves and like be with our thoughts. Maybe like there's like a time to like just read books, like read whatever books for yourself, and then after that we can like discuss what we have read or something like that. Like Nikola Tesla once said, be alone, that is the secret of invention. Be alone, that is when ideas are born. But obviously like there needs to be a balance of like being alone and like being with friends and all that, but like ideas like are mainly like born like just by being alone inside your room or something like that. And like there's this good TED talk from Susan Cain, and like I also watched her podcast with like Tim Ferriss and all that. It's quite nice. If you want to check out the podcast as well, I'll put all like the links inside the description below. But her TED talk, the title was about the power of introverts, and like she talked about like about being alone, and like she talked about like people like Dr. Seuss and all that, and like how his ideas was like being alone and stuff like that. And like in schools, I'm going to talk about a bit about mental health inside schools. Like I feel in schools we don't actually discuss much about mental health at all, and mental health is extremely important. For example, we don't actually know how to actually study inside schools, which is extremely weird because school is all about studying, and we don't know like what is the limit of our capacity of like studying. Like when I was young and when I was in school, I obviously like didn't know how to study, and I usually like overexert myself, and I was this kind of like perfectionist and all that. And now I'm far from being perfect, which is completely fine by me. But in schools, I was this kind of like perfectionist, and like I was always very careful with studying, and I used to always like read over and over and over again the same page, which is like obviously very bad. Like for me when I was young, like grades were basically like my whole life. Like I had to get like an A for everything and all that, which is bad. And like the problem is that we don't actually know what is our limit of studying, or like how to study effectively, and like the holistic way of studying. Like I feel teachers want us to be kind of perfectionists as well, because like they want us to like get A's and stuff like that. And like there are times where I do all the work where teacher actually gives, but like sometimes like my handwriting is a bit messy, then like my teacher would like send me back the work, and like I'll then write everything back again with a nicer handwriting. And like I was very afraid of making mistakes when I was young, but I didn't really know much better, because like I was just a kid. Like I didn't know like how much I should be studying, or like I didn't know like it was fine to fail and stuff like that. And like in schools, I don't think we actually know how to like learn new skills. There's this good TED talk, which I'll also link inside the description below, called The First 20 Hours, How to Learn Anything. And like essentially when you're like learning a new skill, if you actually like think about it, when learning a new skill, it's not like an intellectual kind of thing. You don't have to be smart to like learn a new skill. It's mainly about your emotional capacity, because like when you learn a new skill, you're bound to like fail, but you should be like brave enough that like after you fail, you should be willing to like go on. It's all said inside the video, so yeah, if you want you can check out that video. And I think in schools we are actually sitting down too much. For example, I think we're like sitting down like 7-8 hours inside school, and which is extremely bad. There's another TED talk which I watched, which is quite good. It's called Why Sitting Down Destroys You. It's all linked inside the description below. And like it says like we're all born with a healthy spine, but like now the reason why we're all having like back pain and stuff like that is because we've been sitting down too much. And I feel we need to be like more open with like discussing ideas and stuff like that in schools, and like we need to have more like mental health and all that, and we need to be willing to fail, and we need to be proud that we are failing, instead of like demotivating students, which is like what schools are kind of doing. When like students are failing, we need to like tell them that it's good that they're failing, that they're learning something new, which I don't think that all schools actually do that. Alright, that's it for this video, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.